In the lead, the ANC in the Western Cape has officially elected new leadership after a prolonged delay due to structural instabilities. During the opening address at the ANC Western Cape's elective conference, the party Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula outlined on various issues relating to the party president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and the country. Mbalula touched on a range of issues, particularly being critical of party members in the province. The DA, as well as Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, and suspended Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane, amongst other issues. Let's get some analysis now on some of the key issues at the opening address, now with political analyst Sethulego Matebesi, who joins us now. Very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, day one of this troubled conference went to waste because the party couldn't get the program underway. But they finally hosted this conference, elected new leaders with hopes of reviving electoral chances. What stood out for you?
Hi, good morning, Paul. Yes, I think it's long overdue. Since 2015, almost 8 years, the African National Congress never had an elective conference in a province where it is not ruling, the only province. And that didn't bode well for the party, because if the party had been striving, and it has been one of the strategic priorities of the African National Congress to win that particular province. But if you can't even go to an elective conference, that was also indicative of the factional battles within the African National Congress in that particular province of the Western Cape.
Especially as this ANC in that province has been in decline for over a decade now. What's your assessment of the party's position in the province, more especially as we know it's been in a predicament as its branches were almost non-existent?
Yes, I think it all had to do with individuals, strong leaders that was using gatekeeping, where some members of the African National Congress were only members in good standing during elective conferences or before elective conferences, and then immediately thereafter they have been discarded. And that created a lot of problems for the party, because it was very difficult to garner electoral support when you've got a large proportion of your membership of leaders who are disgruntled and who needs to battle against, a very strong opposition in the Democratic Alliance. Also, if you look at the racial composition of the Western Cape, it does play a role. Race still determines the outcome of elections in South Africa, and I think that is always been a problem in the Western Cape. So you've got a party that is bleeding, and yet the party who could not reach out because they could not demonstrate that they themselves within the party are at peace. And I think all these factors played a significant role. And one will ask questions whether we will be the one who will perhaps take the party forward. Let's hope that. But it will still take some time before the African National Congress can unseat the Democratic Alliance in the Western Cape.
Yeah, because the results are now out in the open. The leadership is there. In fact, we have a chart here that does a breakdown of who has come out to the top there. Cameron Dugmore at 282 votes there, with Deputy Secretary Ayanda Banz and Deputy Chairperson Sharon Davids at 340, Derek Apple unopposed, and Secretary Neville Delport at 332. How significant are these results? And, of course, in assessing the caliber of leadership that is needed to take the party forward. I mean, we heard Fikile Mbalula taking quite a hard line on issues around members who are failing to toe the party line, saying that they won't tolerate unacceptable behavior. How crucial is the new leadership?
Well, perhaps I should start off with the hard line taken by the Secretary General. It's good to make this pronouncement, but this pronouncement should be followed up with tangible action, where action is not taken about certain individuals within the African National Congress, but across the board, irrespective of who is, the culprit. Action should be taken. But if you look overall, I think it's a good starting point. I mean, some of these leaders has been been around quite experienced leaders, but it all depends on how are they going to unite the factions. And this has been something that the ANC has been preaching, but some of us knows that. We can even talk about 3 ANCs within one organization where they go to an elective conference, seemingly contesting. You've got the 2 different camps, or even sometimes 3 different camps. And when they have to go back and reconsolidate, be united, those highly divisive factions do not do that, and that is where the problem comes for the challenge for the new leadership to extend an olive branch, extend a hand to those who have lost out, and to unite them so that they can consolidate the support that the African National Congress have, and also to enhance the image of the party in the Western Cape.
Yeah, and that's quite important, especially as Mbalula took stock of the DA's position, highlighting aspects of the party's stance on cadre deployment, for instance, and how the DA, which has governed the province since 2009, is governing without being challenged by the ANC. What will it take to give the DA a run for its money, so to speak? Can the ANC in the Western Cape really garner the kind of support that's needed to steer it forward?
Yes, that's exactly my point. Yeah. It will take some time, but it is possible. But that will also ask a lot from the African National Congress, not only in the Western Cape, because we all know what happened at the national level also affects the image, the reputational damage that the party has been suffering over the past 2 decades. Almost on a daily basis, there's something that dents the image of the African National Congress. And sometimes it's not necessarily the electoral support that you have, but it's also about voter turnout, where people are so disgruntled in what is happening, and instead of voting for the opposition, they would rather stay away. So the ANC needs to demonstrate, and they don't need to do this 2-3 months before an election, handing out food parcels and T-shirts and all that. They need to start now trying to demonstrate to the Western Cape citizens that they really mean business. They do have the interest of the citizens of Western Cape at heart. And I think that will be a starting way. But these things do not happen overnight. They will have to do much more than that to try and earn the trust of the citizens.
Yeah, absolutely. We also heard quite a hard line from Fikile Mbalula when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine debacle. I mean, he said that South Africa is not going to be hounded and bullied into supporting Ukraine and taking sides in this ongoing conflict. I mean, was that the right place to vent out like this? What was your assessment?
Well, our politicians use any platform. I've even seen sometimes, even in church, where they perhaps have to give, a pronouncement about spirituality, and then suddenly funerals, and then it will turn into a political debate. And there's absolutely nothing wrong. It was an ANC event. It's good for the Secretary General to do that. But one had to be careful. I mean, very cautious. We've seen how the ANC backtrack on some of the pronouncements that they've initially made about Putin's visit to South Africa. But I can't find fault because it was an ANC gathering, and perhaps for the Secretary General, you find itself to be an appropriate platform. But we all know that internationally, once you're part of an international body, it really just causes a lot of challenges for our government and for the African National Congress as to how are they going to navigate around this warrant of arrest that have been issued for Putin.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting one to watch there, especially around all the work that President Ramaphosa has been doing to really just get to the bottom of this, urging Putin to rather stay home. Now, speaking about the Secretary General, expelled Secretary General Ace Magashule says he'll be forming his own political party, declining an invitation to join the EFF. What's your take on that?
Well, that has exactly been my prediction a week or so ago, to say if you look at the caliber, what Ndate Mahashule stands for, I think it would have been suicidal for him to join the EFF. And I've heard people saying there's no permanent enemies in politics, but it also tells us something about our leaders, that today they will show you the right hand and suddenly the next moment it will be the left hand. So these are the kind of things, how they change. You know, even if the president of the ANC was to form a political party, there's a huge difference. The last time we saw South Africans flocking to a political party was when Malema formed the EFF, and I can't see any political party garnering more than 10% of the votes, nearly formed political party, because there are many, that have been formed recently. And the same applies to Ndate Mahashule. He might have support within the African National Congress. He might have the support of the RET forces within the African National Congress. But I also believe that some of these ANC members who have senior government positions might have realized that it may just be suicidal to go and join a new political party. But I will not be surprised that many ANC members, some of them from the Free State, would not occupying senior position, supporting the new party that will be formed by Ndate Mahashule.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Perhaps let's leave it there for now. Thank you for your time and assessment, political analyst Sethulego Matebesi, speaking there on The Lead.